Hello, this is old Rattler coming at you again. Well, I hope y'all's doing fine. I'm doing okay. I just had a tooth pulled the other day, and I'm getting over that okay. It was pretty rough. I thought he was going to have to jerk my head off to get the thing out. He said I had good roots, but the tooth was bad, so he had to take it out. But anyway, my segment today is on these modern day contraptions we've had for a while called cell phones. Yeah, I've got one. I always said I'd never have one, but I finally gave in, and I got me one, and now that's all me and Mrs. Rattler use, is these cell phones to communicate with. And sometimes, you know, you're just never, usually you're in a bad spot and you can't get out. Half the time it's like this: can you hear me now? We all know that famous saying, can you hear me now? Or are you there? What? You're breaking up, you know, all that stuff. And I mentioned the cell phone in my wild hog deal, so we have covered it a little bit before. But these things, you can really be needing them sometimes, and a lot of times I'll be talking to somebody, and then the next thing you know, I realized that I hadn't heard from that other person in a while. I hadn't heard nothing out of him. And I get to thinking I've made him mad or something. I realize he's gone. And he's been gone for 2 or 3 minutes, and I've done talked about a bunch of stuff, and then I end up having to call him back. And you know, when you wind up talking to yourself, I don't mind talking to myself a lot of times because, you know, sometimes it feels comfortable, but I want to talk to myself when I want to talk to myself. When I think I'm talking to somebody else, I don't want to be cut off. So maybe someday they'll get these things fixed where we can have them, and they'll have these little tire things sticking everywhere out of the trees and stuff, and maybe they'll pick up better. But you be talking to somebody and, you know, be telling them something that really sounded good at the time you was telling it, but then when you have to repeat it, it don't come off as good. You know, it's kind of dull by then because you're repeating yourself. And what's really bad is if that person can't hear you then you got to do it a third time. But anyhow, I don't have a whole lot to say about the cell phone thing that ain't already been covered by many other people. But I just hope someday that if I really need the thing, and just like if I'm laid up and I've been thrown from an old horse, or I've been attacked by a wild hog down in the weeds somewhere in the woods, and I'm reaching for that cell phone, it don't get out, and I'm trying to call and crawl up a hill with part of my guts hanging out because a wild hog done gored me half to death, and he's still on my trail trying to eat the rest of me. I sure hope that I could get a signal and get an ambulance down there, and hopefully not a hearse. That's all for now. We'll talk at you later. God bless you all, and good evening.